In just over a week's time, Britain makes its most momentous constitutional departure in half a century when it leaves the European Union. And Scotland goes with it, kicking and screaming. But fear not, because Nicola Sturgeon says we can rejoin whenever we want. All we need to do is vote for independence. We'd be back in the European fold before you can say bing bang bong. So, is it as easy as she says it is? Well, let's get Project Fear out of the way first. There is every reason to believe that an independent Scotland would be fast-tracked back into the European Union. Talk of Scotland being held indefinitely in a holding pen with Turkey, North Macedonia and Albania is ridiculous. These are countries with awkward human rights and unresolved economic issues. Scotland is a stable democracy, with an impeccable human rights record, a dynamic and flexible economy and prodigious natural resources. No, we don't have a high-value economy anymore, like Ireland's or Norway's, largely because of being a backwater in the UK for the last half-century. But Scotland could still offer the national income of Portugal with the population of Slovakia. So, we can forget the 2014 nonsense about going to the end of the queue or being blocked by Spain. There is now a reservoir of goodwill, especially in the European Parliament, following Scotland's determined resistance to Brexit. We'd be back in, probably within 4 to 5 years according to Kirsty Hughes of the Scottish Centre on European Relations. However, there is one small problem. Scotland would have to be fully independent first. Unless Scotland has a referendum in this transition year, there is no longer any prospect of Scotland, as it were, remaining in the European Union as Ruck leaves. We may still be under the same regulatory environment as Europe in the transition period, but don't think that can just be extended as in Northern Ireland. Mentioning the Irish backstop is not the way to get a sympathetic hearing in the European Union. Many states are unhappy about Northern Ireland being allowed to remain, effectively, in the European single market without being part of the EU or the EEA. It breaks all the rules. And Scotland can forget about being given similar treatment. Speaking to Brussels officials this week confirms that there will be no read across to Scotland from the Northern Ireland Protocol. They won't even discuss it. So, there is no halfway house. Scotland needs to take the leap into full independence. That means having a central bank and an autonomous currency before Scotland could become a candidate for accession. There are 2 problems here, but they aren't insurmountable. Scotland would have to formally agree to the Maastricht Treaty and membership of the Euro. It is most unlikely that Scotland would get a formal opt-out from the Euro, but it could drag its feet. For more on this story, visit the news article link.